Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Warcraft Rumble is finally getting all of its co-op gameplay in place, with the first co-op thing coming on May 29th with the form of sieges, and the first one is going to be Siege of Stormwind. Sieges are quite accessible from level 17 to level 20, and you get to co-op with a partner to take down the city of Stormwind. And I do love the idea of these sieges. These sieges are modeled after vanilla World of Warcraft, the faction leader raids, where faction used to put together a raid team and then go forth and kill leaders of the other faction in their capital cities. And that was just a ton of fun. I mean, super nostalgic experience. And Siege of Stormwind is going to model this raid to Stormwind quite accurately, because first you're going to go through the Valley of Heroes, which is near the gates of Stormwind, and you're going to go through General Magus Jonathan, who is there in World of Warcraft as well. So this is exactly like a raid would go into Stormwind. And after going through the Valley of Heroes, then you arrive at the Trade District, and Trade District takes a little bit of a whimsical turn in Warcraft Rumble, because the boss that you're going to fight in Trade District is Innkeeper Allison of the Gilded Rose. Gilded Rose is a tavern in Trade District, but when you do a faction raid, you don't actually go into this tavern. I don't think. You rather just go through Trade District. But still, this is the exact path that a faction raid would have taken place in vanilla World of Warcraft. And then we beat Innkeeper Allison to finally reach the Keep of Stormwind. And within the Keep of Stormwind, the Throne Room of Stormwind, and High Lord Bolvar Dragon in the Throne Room. So this is so exciting. This is just like reliving these vanilla days. Of course, completely different context. That would be PvP, World PvP at that, and this is two-player co-op PvE encounter. But still, they're definitely playing that nostalgia card in this one a lot. And this really makes me think what other sieges we could see, because, I mean, with the Warcraft lore, they already have so much material to work on. Because these faction raids took place in several capitals, 3 capitals on both sides, although mainly in 2 of them, because the third ones were kind of remote and not as popular. The capital city raids that took place in vanilla World of Warcraft were the Stormwind, which is what we're getting now, Siege of Stormwind. Then there was Ironforge as the second most popular alliance city. Then Darnassus. Darnassus was quite remote and not very popular. Also, it was kind of a simple raid too, because the teleporter almost takes you to the faction leader already. That wasn't done a lot at all. Then on the Horde side, there's Orgrimmar, although not to be confused with Siege of Orgrimmar, which is a raid in World of Warcraft, that later era when Old God influence has tainted Orgrimmar. It's going to be released from that. And then there's Undercity. Undercity was painful raid, but still fairly popular. And then there's Thunderbluff. Thunderbluff had some Horde players around it, but Thunderbluff is built on top of these huge platforms, and then there's bridges connecting them, and then you just fall down. There's elevators. It was not a fun place to raid, and also, yeah, so that wasn't done that much. So the 4 main ones that were raided during vanilla were Stormwind, which we get now, and Ironforge, Orgrimmar, and Undercity. So, I mean, there's so much material here. I fully expect that we will get Siege of Orgrimmar, Siege of Undercity, and Siege of Ironforge in the future. And what could they look like? You will start with Orgrimmar, which is kind of the counterpart of Stormwind. Then Orgrimmar is the Orc capital in World of Warcraft. Thrall is the leader who was there back in vanilla. And the progress for an Orgrimmar raid, you would go through the gates, and when you go through the gates, you arrive at this site, the Valley of Strength. And then you fight your way through the Valley of Strength, where there's bank and there's vendors and all sorts of stuff like that. There's a lot of players here. And then you enter the Shadowy Valley, the Drag. The Drag nowadays is a little bit more light after the Cataclysm, but we're talking vanilla times, so shadowy area. And through the Drag you fight on to Valley of Wisdom, and within Valley of Wisdom there's the Grommash Hold, which is the throne room in Orgrimmar. So a Siege of Orgrimmar, siege in Warcraft Rumble, could easily consist of Valley of Strength, then Drag, and then Grommash Hold, this throne room. I mean, they just write themselves, right? there's so much material to draw upon. So that would be Orgrimmar. Another iconic one is Undercity, the undead capital, where Sylvanas is ruling. Although if they don't want us to beat up Sylvanas, there could be Varimatras, the Dreadlord, who sometimes ruled in Sylvanas' place. And this would also be pretty simple. First you enter through the ruins of Lordaeron, the old capital city of Lordaeron. Now in ruins, Undercity, the undead live underneath that. So you enter the ruins of Lordaeron, you enter the old throne room of Lordaeron, and then there are elevators that you take down below the ground. Once you go underground, you enter the trade quarter. So you go through the trade quarter, you go through the apothecarium, where all sorts of evil experiments are taking place, until you finally reach the royal quarter, where Sylvanas has her throne. So this one too, you could fight like through ruins of Lordaeron. Trade quarter and apothecarium are kind of similar, so probably you would just go through one of those, and then finally the royal quarter. These lend themselves so incredibly well into these 3 map battles. I mean, it's going to be so awesome once Rumble gets some more of these. Now we have the Stormwind one, then Orgrimmar, Undercity, and well, we would need another alliance raid too, and that would be Ironforge. Because Ironforge is the dwarven capital where Magni Bronzebeard rules at this point in time, and we could go through the gates of Ironforge. I mean, that would be an epic battle, fighting your way through that road to those gates. And then once we reach the gates of Ironforge, we enter the most common player area, which is the commons. There's the bank and there's the auction house. Tons of people always around here, so you have to fight through the commons in order to reach the heart of Ironforge, the Great Forge, where you can do all sorts of blacksmithing, and the smiths of Ironforge are tireless working. And next to the Great Forge, there is the High Seat, the seat of power of the Dwarven Kingdom. So gates, maybe it could be gates, the Great Forge, the High Seat. I think you'd probably skip the commons, or you could do commons instead of Gates of Ironforge, but Gates of Ironforge would be so epic. So yeah, Siege of Stormwind coming on May 29th, and there's so much potential with these sieges, modeling these after. It's like a huge nostalgia trip. I wonder how many people who are nostalgic about these actually have phones that can run a game. I mean, I play on an emulator myself. My phone is not really suitable for games like Warcraft Rumble. I hope we get the PC client soon, because this nostalgia trip is something that could really draw in some old World of Warcraft players. But yeah, Siege of Stormwind in the game. And I really hope that we're going to see Orgrimmar, Undercity, and Ironforge, because all of these would lend themselves incredibly well into putting into 3-map fights. And yeah, there's so much potential for awesome co-op content for Warcraft Rumble. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.